Let's talk about Fresno, California. It's the state's fifth largest city and a real powerhouse in the Central Valley. But right now, Fresno is a city with two, well, completely different stories playing out. One is all about ambitious growth and a super bright future. The other, it's about a housing crisis that's pushing people right to the edge. So what's the real story here? Which version of Fresno is the truth?
You know, if you just look at the official plans, Fresno has it all figured out. It's got this bold, really optimistic strategy. It's basically a detailed blueprint meant to lock in its status as the economic heart of the region and build a great community for everyone. It's the kind of vision you'd see in a glossy magazine.
And here it is, straight from the city's own playbook. The language is, well, exactly what you'd expect, right? Vibrant, balanced. It talks about respecting the past while building the future. I mean, on paper, it sounds perfect. It's the ideal recipe for a thriving American city. But as you're about to see, the reality is a whole lot messier.
In that perfect vision, it forces you to ask a really important question. Who is this future actually for? I mean, is it for the people who already call Fresno home? The folks working and raising their families there right now? Because once you start digging into that simple, optimistic story, well, it really starts to unravel.
Okay, so the official roadmap for this big future is called the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, or CEDs. You can just think of it as the city's master plan to bring in money, create jobs, and build what they call a healthy community. This is the promise of a better Fresno. This is the version they want us all to see. But then there's the other story. The one you don't hear about in City Hall, but you definitely hear it on the streets. For a huge number of people in Fresno, the big story isn't about ambitious growth. It's about the daily, grinding struggle just to afford a roof over their head.
Get a load of this number, 72%. That's how many of the lowest income households in Fresno County are severely cost-burdened. What does that even mean? It means they have to spend more than half of every single dollar they earn just on housing. Just think about that. How are you supposed to pay for food or healthcare or gas when over half your paycheck is just gone?
And look, this isn't some new problem. Way back in 2018, a report showed that Fresno County was already short more than 41,000 affordable rental homes for its poorest residents. That is a massive gap in the housing market, and it puts this incredible strain on pretty much everyone looking for a place to live.
Let me put it another way. To afford just the average rent in Fresno County, a person working full-time has to make 1.6 times the state minimum wage. That single fact makes a basic apartment completely out of reach for a huge chunk of the city's workforce.
And this is where our two stories, that big promise of growth and the harsh reality of the housing crisis, they just smash right into each other. And the point of impact? It's a massive new development project that has a price tag in the billions.
So on the city's official map of what they call economic centers, there's one area that's getting all the attention and all the controversy. It's this one, right here, number 9. It's known as the Southeast Development Area, or SEDA for short. This right here is ground zero for the whole debate about Fresno's future.
Just so you get a sense of the scale we're talking about, SEDA is enormous. It's a 9,000-acre project that's bigger than some entire towns, with plans for 45,000 new homes. This is not just another subdivision, folks. This is a project that is designed to completely change the face of Fresno for generations to come.
But of course, there's a catch. And it is a huge one. A report that the city itself paid for calculated what it would cost to build all the infrastructure to support SEDA. We're talking roads, sewers, parks, the whole shebang. The final price tag? A totally jaw-dropping $4.3 billion.
And here's where it gets even crazier. That same report found that the fees developers would pay, well, they'd cover less than a quarter of that cost. That leaves a massive funding gap of roughly $3 billion just sitting there.
So this, right here, is the conflict in a nutshell. On one hand, you have the mayor publicly promising that taxpayers will not be subsidizing this growth. And on the other hand, you have the city's own report showing a $3 billion hole with absolutely no clear answer for who's going to pay for it.
And then, in this moment of surprising honesty, Fresno's city manager just came out and said it. This massive 45,000 home project, it isn't actually meant to solve the city's housing crisis. So if it's not for that, who is it for?
Well, to figure that out, you really just have to look at Fresno's next-door neighbor, Clovis. It's a much wealthier city, home prices are over 130 grand higher, and the median income is almost 33 grand higher. The fear among a lot of locals is that CETA is basically an attempt to build a brand new Clovis right inside Fresno city limits.
And the numbers totally back this up. The land where CETA is planned is already one of the priciest places to buy a home in the entire San Joaquin Valley. Zillow thinks a typical home there already costs around $700,000. Let's be really clear. These are not starter homes for the average person living in Fresno.
A market study done for the city actually turned up this really fascinating detail. CETA wouldn't actually lead to more homes being built in Fresno overall. Instead, as you can see, it would probably just shift all the new construction away from other neighborhoods and concentrate it all in this one new, super expensive area. The total number of new homes for the city? Pretty much flat.
So this is the fundamental choice that Fresno is facing. Is the future of the city all about massive, expensive growth on the edges of town, or is it about investing in the city that's already there to make it more affordable for the people who call it home? It really seems like you can't have it both ways.
And make no mistake, this isn't a short-term gamble. The projections show CETA would only be about a third of the way done by the year 2050. And that debt, if the city has to take it on to build all the infrastructure, it might not be paid off until 2082. We are talking about a financial commitment that would hang over the city for generations.
Eventually, even the mayor, Jerry Dyer, had to acknowledge the risk here. After first promising the taxpayers wouldn't be on the hook, he later admitted that the potential for these gigantic costs to fall on the city and its residents is, in his own words, all true. So here's the ultimate paradox, right? Fresno has an official plan that's full of talk about growth and prosperity for everyone, but its biggest, most ambitious project seems poised to do the exact opposite, threatening to make the city even more expensive and less affordable for the very people who already live there.
And that leaves us with a question that isn't just for Fresno, but for cities all across the country. How do you build for tomorrow without pricing out the people who are living there today? That is the billion-dollar question that Fresno and a lot of other cities still haven't figured out how to answer.